I'm really short, so I'm going to stand here so you can see me. But I have a loud voice as well, so I'm not going to wear the mic. Okay, so I represent Ukie. Anybody know who Ukie are? This is more of an exercise to wake you up as well. Anybody know who Ukie are? Yeah. Well, hey, there's a big sign there. Right, cool. Okay, so I was meant to be the gap filler. I was meant to be the person who presents second. I'm from East London, so very close to Essex, so apologies for my accent as well. I'll try not to swear, probably because I'm not old enough, but I will try and get the message across. Now, what I do is really, really, really boring, but important. Obviously, I'm going to say that. I've made a career out of it. So I'm kind of here to give you an idea about what intellectual property is, why it's important for you, and something to keep in mind. I'll also give you some life lessons as well, like AJ did, because that's what we do from around our way. Right? We help people out, because everyone's our mate. Right? But I'm also not some kind of evangelical priest to come and tell you that what I say is right. You know, I've got my opinion on intellectual property, copyright theft, and all the rest of it. Right? I'm not coming here to tell you not to go on torrent sites and download it and all the rest of it. I'm just going to give you an idea of how it affects things and how it could potentially affect you in the long run. Right, little steps. Cool. Right, so background about Ukie. So Ukie, not UKIP's younger brother, but the UK Interactive, I'll get out of the way, I realise I am actually tall enough, so I am blocking the screen there a little bit. Okay, so interactive entertainment, so not just gaming, anyone who's associated within the industry, basically. If you make 3D games, 3D products, you could be a member of Ukie. If you're a PR company working in this industry, you can be a member of the Ukie as well. So it's very broad, and the aim of it is to help this industry grow. Now, I'm actually older than the gaming industry. Believe it or not, I'm 35. And this industry has really been only going for about 30 years, so that just shows you how old it is, and I've had a tough life. Look how short I am, right? The pressure of this has been taking its toll on me. Right, so the aim is to help promote and get people interested in the gaming industry. We need support from everybody, not just the people to do the job, you need the people backing it. You need the right environment. You need the government on side. You probably heard about tax breaks for people who want to develop games here in the UK. Imagine that 20% saved straight away, right? That's in your back pocket. Sweet, right? So these are all the things that are very important, and Ukie's behind all of this as a trade association. We're non-profit making. None of it goes to buy us fish and chips or anything like that, right? You know, jelly deals and whatever else we have down south, right? We use all of this money to help you guys out eventually, when you become members, and help promote the industry as much as possible. And obviously, organise lovely events like this. So you get to find out, so you are the future of this industry, and you take it to the next place, really. So, as it says there, the mission, support, grow and promote UK games industry. Now, this is going to be my little 5 minutes of giving you my background. I did do a computer science degree many, many years ago, and we used to save our work on these things called a floppy disk. You guys probably only know about this stuff from your history books, but it was what we used to save our work. Now, like AJ, I wasn't a very good student as well. I made the odd appearance ever so often. We didn't even have a register, so it was even better. The only way I got through university is by my mates' KFC buckets, and they told me what work I was meant to know, and then I memorised everything and I did my exams. That's all I did. So I wasn't a great student. But what I did do, I remember this, and it was probably, and I'll explain why it's important to me. There was one project that we had to do, simulation. And as always, didn't bother paying attention, didn't do any of it. But I realised there was one guy in the class who knew everything. You know, let's be honest, there's always one or a couple in each class that knows everything. So I realised that they've saved their work on their computer. So I got my mate to distract him, and I went round the other side with the floppy disk and copied it. Ended up getting an A for the project. Right. So that's how I learned about IP. What I just did, I sold someone's intellectual property. Someone had spent a lot of time and effort to do all of that work, simulation work, and I've just gone and stole it. And my karma is doing this job. I'm not making IP, I'm protecting it now, okay? And I'm sure he went on to become a multi-millionaire, and I'm standing here. But there's nothing, I'm okay with that. I don't take it personally or anything like that. But that kind of shows you how IP starts, even at your age. You know, when you're in university, you are working on something. You're doing your dissertation and everything, and you want to make sure it's unique and it gives you a great opportunity. Now, my colleague Richie isn't here, but he said I should include lots of images. So all I did is just went and found more pictures of floppy disk as well. So I'm a little bit gutted he hasn't made the effort to be here, right? And that's called a 1 gigabyte wrap for your Fast and Furious fans here. And this geezer, he's just gangster, isn't he? I mean, he's put a floppy disk with a USB stick. That is just genius. I'm sure he's made no money at all from that. Anyway, right, so that's kind of about IP. So just understanding it. So IP, intellectual property, copyright, trademarks, patent. Right, very important. It will become your bread and butter. It will make you a living. Now, my background, I've only been with Ukie since May of this year. But before I joined Ukie, I was with the music industry. Who hiss, you know, the guys who never give you anything for free. I was with them for 11 and a half years. So I graduated from uni. I did a computer science degree. I couldn't find a job. So what I did is I played Gran Turismo for about 9 months. That's how long it took me to clock it. I ended up with a dodgy neck because I had to do the 24-hour races, right? So I realised that I wanted to get into something that I studied, computer science, but I didn't really want to fix printers. So I thought, I'm a bit of a creative guy, and I try web design. I wasn't that creative. So I realised, okay, there's this job going to do with anti-piracy. So I thought, okay, let's give it a go. I'm East London, I know a little bit, and all the rest of it. So 11 years on, what did I do, what did I achieve, and all the rest of it? Kind of in a summary, this is what some of the projects that I worked on. Top right corner, a website called Oink, which was a music torrent site, which was taken down 7 years ago on Friday. When the site was taken down, put this message up. The guy who was behind this site was based in Middlesbrough. He was 24 years old, made about 70 grand from donations, PayPal donations on the site. So anyone who says they do it for the love is lying. They do it for the dollars, trust me. Right. Now with this particular site, we arrested the guy, we took down the site, Interpol's involved in everything. Yes, I have been involved in knocking down doors and all the rest of it. I usually don't get my hands dirty, that's what you have the police for. But the point being is, we went to these drastic measures to get the site taken down. And because what we needed to show is that people were infringing copyright. Now, the same applies to games, books, and all the rest of it. So even though I'm here talking about with my music past, it still applies to all of this. Now, this was the day before, these were the days before Twitter and all the rest of it. So I was in Middlesbrough and I had to drive down to London. By the time we did drive down to London, we looked on all the blogs and people were getting scared just because we put this message up. They were throwing their computers in the rivers and like leaving them at the orphanages because they were worried that, you know, the BPI and IFPI, the companies that I worked for, were going to go after them as well because they were users on the site. I know you can't see the message, but essentially it said we're looking at everybody who was part of this site. So that just showed you, and to me that was the best thing that we did because what it did, it raised the awareness that what people are doing is wrong. Now, whenever you think of pirates or anything like that, you think it's always the big guys, it's the Microsofts of this world who are getting affected. And it doesn't matter, they make loads of money out of this, but it's not. There is a lot of indie people who are affected by this as well. Again, whether it be music or games. Next one is the soccer, the one in the corner there. This was 2 years ago. Another guy running a music site, living in Leicester, 24 again. I love chasing 24-year-old men, it seems. Right, don't tell my wife. Right, so again, making money. This guy was making money from advertising. So he was having, believe it or not, some of gaming companies advertising on his site. So that's how he was making his money. You know, he probably spoke to Simon and got some PR and got some great marketing on his site. So again, what we did is we put this message up, and this one was a little bit more scary. If you logged in, you put your IP address up. So it really scared people. And by this time, we did have Twitter. And we monitored the amount of people that went onto Twitter to talk about this, and it was in its tens of thousands. Everyone was worried about this. Everyone was thinking that soccer, as the Americans call it, soccer to us, we're going to go after them. So those are two kind of cases. And it shows that you've got to, you know, look at IP and respect it really. But sometimes that doesn't work. You can't get through to everybody. Now this is where I ask the question, has anyone ever downloaded anything illegally?
No. Not in this university.
Right, the police van is outside. Can you all make a... No, right. We've all done it. I did it. You know, I stole someone else's work. You know, the software I used when I was at school was definitely not paid for. Right? Okay. But it's about understanding. Now, we all understand. Things are a lot more cheaper, things are a lot more accessible, and it's about getting that message across. Something that's going on at the moment is site blocking. If you go to the Pirate Bay or any of these other sites, you probably see a message like this. Basically, don't go onto that site. And I'll explain why that's a little bit relevant later on. But all this is being done is to raise awareness about copyright, IP, and all the rest of it. And I cannot tell you enough, from doing this job, I've dealt with small indie labels and now game studios, one-man outfits to the big boys, and it affects all of them. They've put a lot of heart and soul into that idea. Now, you guys are all students, you probably have part-time jobs. Now, your jobs may be working in the supermarket and all the rest of it. Supermarkets sell games. So your salary, part of your salary is coming from games or music or whatever, right? And I remember one guy, and I will steal his IP because I think it's a brilliant example. He explained IP as like an upside-down pyramid. You have an idea at the bottom, and it supports this big pyramid. And you take that idea away, and everything falls apart. The truck drivers, the PR team, the marketing, everything that goes around it, the people who work in the magazines, you take that away, you don't have anything anymore. And that's kind of my 2 cents on this whole thing, really. So I just wanted to give you a few examples on that.
Just got 5 minutes.
5 minutes. I'm going to show off a little bit and say, had to work with Eminem. I was meant to go to Detroit to meet him, but unfortunately I was told that it's unsafe. No, it wasn't. It was university didn't want me to go. But what we did is, this was all to do with hacking and all the rest of it. So the music industry were being attacked by 16 to 24-year-olds, this time German boys, going after famous singers and all the rest of it. You may remember from 4 or 5 years ago, definitely you boys will, the nude pictures of Rihanna, right? These were all hacked from Chris Brown's email account and all the rest of it. And it was my job to look at Rihanna's pictures. investigate what was going on and all the rest of it. It took about 2 years to figure out what happened and all the rest of it. Now, I realised that I could stop one guy hacking, but then another one's going to take his place. It was so easy. All they were doing is sending fake emails, pretending to be from Google, YouTube, and all the rest of it. Simple HTML, getting someone to give their login details. So I realised I needed a voice, and I managed to get, not Eminem, unfortunately, but his manager, Paul Rosenberg, who basically did this article. And I used it then to promote it to everyone in the music industry. This is how you're being attacked. This is what you need to do. Blah, 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 and all the rest of it. Funny enough, we've obviously got a hacking issue that's going on in the gaming industry pretty recently. And it's really the same message. Just making sure that people are aware and all the rest of it and stuff like that. So I'll make that point again. It's all about education and making people understand. My job over the years has been going out speaking to students. I used to go to Birmingham Uni to speak to the music students. And I used to sit there, I did that for 6 years. And the first year I did it, they were like throwing tomatoes at me and all the rest of it. I was the guy ruining all their fun. Now everyone's using Spotify, everyone's interested and all the rest of it. So it's about technology will change. I agree, things could be better, games could be released quicker, and all the rest of it, but it will get there. We live in a very commercialised world. Nothing happens, very quickly. It takes a long time. But as the consumer, you can affect that. A little bit here. I've dealt with law enforcement officers and all the rest of it. To give you an example, one of my presentations was hacked and leaked. Another one is on WikiLeaks. Apparently I presented at a US embassy, and the US embassy felt that they had to keep a document about it, and now it's online. So it's amazing. I don't like it, but it's out there and all the rest of it. I'm going to skip because I can tell I'm going to get in trouble. Right, examples of IP infringement. Really simple, pre-release leaks. Posted a picture of FIFA 15 here. It was released, September. A few days before it was released, it becomes available. Clone copycat games. Again, top example there, 2048, blah, blah, blah. Many different versions. Someone owns the IP to that. Someone else is ripping it off, taking the idea. In the app stores, some of these guys are making money out of it as well. And that's something called Proceeds of Crime Act here in the UK. You can talk to me about that another day. Mod versions of games, Candy Crush. If you can't be bothered to pay for the in-app purchases and all the rest of it, there's going to be a cracked version that you can use. Again, IP infringement. Obviously, the standard, downloaded on a BitTorrent network, wherever it is, it's not the right thing to do. You don't want to put it on there. Scammers making money from malware. It's amazing how much that is there. And I included that for Richie again, and he's not here. Something about Gianna's sisters. Something to do with Super Mario, it being a rip-off. But he's the only one who seems to know about it. Right, so how does it affect you? This is probably the most important part here. You're going to be creating and making IP. So the first thing you've got to do is make sure that you've got it protected. You're going to have to deal with legal people, lawyers, who tell you how to do all of that, make sure it's protected. You're going to have to register your trademarks. I think that costs a couple of £100. It's not a lot of money, but it means that when you are big time, it will definitely pay off. If there's any patents, then again, protect it yourself. Think commercial, think big time. Don't think short time. Don't think that, okay, I'm going to give my content out for free and it will make no difference, because eventually you will be big, right? So don't put your content on the Pirate Bay, because it will come back to bite you. There are many legitimate ways to get your content out there, right? You don't have to use those sources. If anything, control it yourself. Set up your own BitTime tracker, your technical people. Why don't you monitor it yourself? Get people involved, like the PR guys Simon said already. Work with all of these different people and make sure you get the message across. But the other thing, the reason why I did jump ship from the music industry into the game industry, I'm a geek as well. I love technology. There are technology or technical measures that you can put in place to make it harder for people to infringe your copyright. So use that and it will pay off, and obviously think long term. And that's my 15 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.